the middle of the night of January 2023. A neighbor calls his deputy friend. Hey, there's two black men staying in a house of an elderly white woman. I need you to do something about it. Deputy says, all right, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. He calls his goon squad friends. Hey, boys, you guys up for a mission? Hell yeah, we are. What you got going on? Yeah, we got two black guys at an elderly white woman's house who's disabled, who don't belong there. So they gather up, they surround the house, so they burst down the door, slam the two men down on the ground, Mr. Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. Now the party begins. What are we gonna do with these two? They tase them, they waterboard them, they sexually assault them with a toy, a woman-type toy. Force him to keep the thing in his mouth, or they keep tasing. When their little playtime was over in that department, they forced the two men to take a shower together to wash off the evidence. Naked, tased several times over 2 hours. They put a gun in Michael Jenkins' mouth. Did a mock execution. Took the bullet out of the gun and pulled the trigger. Then he put the bullet back in the gun, slammed it forward in the barrel, and fired, lacerating his tongue, breaking his jaw, and by the grace of God, the bullet went out his neck. They thought they killed him. Now, I've done plenty of drug busts in my time. And yeah, you're going to run into a house, kick the door down, slam the people to the ground, get them in handcuffs, get them in control, because you don't know where a weapon is inside a house. It's one of the most dangerous places in the world to be. And it does take aggressive tactics to do that. But this wasn't about an aggressive tactic or a drug bust. It wasn't the lie that they conjured up.
It was supposed to be a drug bust. Investigators tell us during a narcotics investigation, the suspect pointed a gun at the deputy.
Attorneys say this was a racially motivated attack.
According to attorney Malik Shabazz, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker were both subjected to a 2-hour torture session. Deputies handcuffed, tased, beat, and waterboarded the men, all while hurling racial slurs.
One of the officers put a gun in Jenkins' mouth for a mock execution and pulled the trigger.
The truth was, there were two black men inside an elderly white woman's house who was disabled. A neighbor saw it, didn't like it, called his buddy up, who just happened to be with the Rankin County Sheriff's Office. He got his buddies, the Goon Squad, to go raid the house, slam them into the ground, assault them, shoot one, and then claim it's a drug raid to cover it up. Was this a one-off action? Where one decided to be a cowboy and thought he'd just get everybody to join him along and go after these black boys? I call bullshit. This was more than just these two men. These are dirty, rotten criminals with badges. These are the Blue Line Gang, and they're all over the country. I hate saying that, but the fact of the matter is there are a lot of criminals with badges. A lot of them have been caught, but I got a feeling a lot of them have not been caught. My mind is changing as my research is showing that there's a whole lot of dirty cops out there. And that for the majority of them that are bad, it's about power. It's always about power. I got the power to arrest you. I got the power to handcuff you. If you resist, I can beat you up. I can tase you. I can shoot you. I can put you in jail for assaulting me. I can plant drugs on you. But when they start doing crimes like this ain't their first time. They knew how to cover it up. Plant drugs on them. Oh yeah, just two black boys trying to get out of going to prison. So they're going to sit there and say, we did this and we did that. And we're honorable cops and we've never had no issues. And all of a sudden, these guys are saying we did this and that and the other. But the truth of the matter is, Your Honor, is that we raided a house. Mr. Jenkins tried to shoot me. I shot him first. People started coming forward with their story. And all those stories were way too similar. Two black men in a dominantly white county by racist cops go to tell their story. Who they going to believe? Two black men they've arrested for drugs trying to get out of prison were 6 honorable white police officers. They tortured these men for hours. Tortured, sexually assaulted. Put a gun in the mouth of Michael Jenkins and fired it. But what they didn't get charged with was attempted murder, sexual assault. This isn't their first time doing this. You're going to hear the stories of several people tell you how these police act, because this is a pattern of violence. The majority of the people that had this done to them that became victims were white. So I'm not buying the racial thing. And they might have used some racial slurs, but I think they treated anybody with drugs. These people weren't perfect. But that doesn't mean the criminals with badges get to beat on them, shoot them. These criminals with badges were terrorists. Domestic terrorists. And as they should be charged as domestic terrorists. But we'll see. Hopefully I can keep my temper down, because I get quite pissed off about idiots like this.
An injury is one thing, but being repeatedly tased and getting shot in the mouth while handcuffed, was this just a one-off, or was it part of a larger pattern of abuse in the department?
The day's not going to come when somebody comes in Rankin County and commits a crime and thinks that they can race back to Jackson and that it's safe, that they're at home base or something like that. It's not going to happen. We're coming after them.
And I'm sorry about my language. Just don't around in Rankin County. It's just a given. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't bring drugs. Just when you're in Rankin County, I don't care what you're doing, just be 10-10. Just abide by the law. And everybody knows that. And you know that because everybody gets, beaten.
And then there was Deputy Rick Loveday from Hinds County Sheriff's Office, who just happened to live in Rankin County. Now, he was a big old boy. He's in his 50s. Kind of shaggy like me. A little heavy. But he loved the girls. And he'd allow the girls to come over and party at his house. And there happened to be a little trouble there because while he was in bed and the girls were partying, they had another person over there. And then another person came to their house, went and bought some drugs from them. And as soon as that snitch went out the door, here come the police, here come the goon squad, and they bursted down the door and they took everybody down. And he was no exception.
So they start kicking me and stomping me. I lay over on my stomach. Get your head down. One of them stomps my head onto the floor. Well, that's tacky. But all right, whatever. I can't do nothing. And he keeps hitting me, and I'm like, I'm on blood thinners. If he hits me hard enough and my brain bleeds, I could bleed into my brain and die. And so I said, hey. And he stopped swinging. I said, listen, I'm on blood thinners. And he said, I don't give a. And they were kicking me really good. They were kicking me so good that one of them missed and put his foot through my counter. So I'm looking in the living room at these people, and Andy's crying. She's looking at me crying, and I'm like, it's okay. I've fought my whole life. I'm not worried. Bruises heal, so it's no big deal. The humiliation hurts. So I'm listening, and I'm not understanding what's going on, but I can hear and screaming and hollering coming from the back of the trailer. All right? I can hear someone getting his ass whooped.
Now, Mitchell Hobson, known as Mitch, was at that house with Deputy Rick Loveday. But they had taken him to the back room, and they beat the living crap out of him. Now, he alleges in his complaint in the federal lawsuit that these police officers kicked him in the stomach, took a lamp cord, wrapped it around his throat and choked him with it, and held him up in the air like they were hanging him. That's the kind of garbage that was in Rankin County. I still believe they're there. Those boys may have got convicted, but I guarantee they didn't get all of them. But these three people described, Rick, Andy, and Mitch, that wasn't police control. That was torture. And it was also what Parker and Jenkins described happened to them, minus the shooting, the waterboarding, the tasering, the beatings. Andy being female, I am a little curious what happened with her, because at the end she passes away. And she wanted the people who had harmed her to pay for what they did to her. Hers seemed a little more aggressive. And knowing what these Goon Squad people have done to other people, Like that guy on the traffic stop. Makes you wonder what they made her do. You know, there's some people I'd just like to put my hand. And I'm not going to say no more because I'll probably get in trouble with YouTube for saying something like that. But you know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm thinking. And it disgusts me that there are actually criminals running around with badges. A lot of them. Who do you trust? The one in uniform? Wait a minute, they're all in uniform. So the next time that Andy had a confrontation with law enforcement, it was at her house. She had a friend over, a drug dealer, named Robert Grazier, who goes by the name of Catfish. They took him to the back room, and they tortured him.
They shoved a pistol down my throat. They shoved a pistol all the way down my throat and pushed me to the floor. They had my legs pinned down, and he kept tasing me. He said, "Did you get tased here tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, first." And he tased me again. Bang! I said, "Oh, whoa, no. I was trying to tell them what they wanted to hear."
They stuck a gun down his throat. Not just in his mouth, but down his throat. Now, in another county, you're going to wonder why I brought this up, but in another county, in Simpson County, there was a sheriff named Lloyd Jones. Now, Lloyd Jones had a heavy hand when he dealt with the black community and civil rights activists. And the black community gave him the nickname of Lloyd Goon Jones because of the way he treated black people. He didn't care about how he harmed people, and he kept it out of police reports. And he expected that of his men also. Now, the reason why I bring him up is because Sheriff Brian Bailey was a deputy up and coming and got his first job under Sheriff Goon Jones. Now, an inmate ended up killing Sheriff Jones because of the way that he was treated. Later in a memorial, Sheriff Bailey wrote, "I loved you like a father. You are no doubt a part of who I am and what I am today." Decades after Lloyd Goon Jones was accused of torturing a civil rights activist, he had him in his jail. He shoved a fork down his nose and into his throat. He tortured that black man. And decades later, Sheriff Brian Bailey's own men, the Goon Squad, became notorious for their violence. The FBI and the Department of Justice opened up a civil rights investigation on the 6 officers who were involved in one man getting shot in the mouth. That man being Michael Jenkins. All 6 officers were arrested. All 6 officers pled guilty in court. All the deputies admitted to brutalizing Jenkins and Parker. Fortunately, top-rated news reporters from Mississippi Today, Brian Howie and Nate Rosenfeld, conducted their own investigation into the Goon Squad. They uncovered so much material that got the FBI and the Department of Justice to act and dig deeper into a civil rights investigation, deeper than just the 6 members of the Goon Squad, because some got caught and the FBI wants to know if there's more. In my heart of hearts, I believe there are a lot more. It goes deeper. Bailey says he has over 200 law enforcement officers under his command, and only 6 of them were part of a Goon Squad. Bailey being the top goon, that's my theory. So a big thanks. Thank you for the great job that you did. Both of you.
She wanted the Goon Squad to pay for what they did to her. And so she was kind of getting anybody she could to help get in on that for whatever needed to happen.
Gary's own problems with the Rankin County Sheriff's Department began one night back in 2018. 5 years before the Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker case came to light. Gary was at a neighbor's house, a guy named Jerry Manning. Most people around here call him Red Dog, and he was known in the neighborhood for dealing drugs. Gary says he was hanging out with a group of people in Red Dog's bedroom when he noticed something.
And I said, Red Dog. I said, cops are here. And everybody in there just froze.
Gary's account followed the same pattern of so many others we spoke to. Officers beat him and the people there that night.
I don't know if he kicked me or pushed me or what, but knocked me down on the floor. And then he handcuffed, my hands behind my back. Man, They tased me for probably 2 hours. One of the cops told me, "What's wrong with you, old man? How come you can't walk? What's wrong with you? You on dope? You up?" No, man. I said I was in the military. I was in a helicopter crash, and I had just had surgery on my back. They told me that you a disgrace to veterans. You don't deserve to even call yourself a. And they really, and I was not a disgrace. In the military, I was decorated special operator in the Air Force. When I told him that about my back, where is it at? Where does it hurt? I said, well, my lower back. And that's when he put his paratrooper boots he was wearing, and he would put them on my scar and grab back of my hair and just pull me back.
Now, see, these dirty, low-life cops, if that's what you want to call them, I can't call them cops. That's why I call them gang members, because they don't act like cops. They act like thugs. Gary was a 70-year-old man. 70-year-old man being tased several times. Why? Because these guys were thugs. I can't say what I want to say on YouTube because it'll blank it out. But you know what I'm thinking. These are criminals with badges. They're jerks, and they piss me off. I get the fact that Gary was around a drug dealer, probably smoked some pot, probably an old hippie, but he's still a human being. And the one thing about these dirty cops using them tasers, see, when they did their police report, they didn't mention any violence. They just went in there and said, oh yeah, we found the drugs. It was out in plain sight, and we busted these old boys, and that was that. Nothing said about violence. Nothing said about using tasers on these people, but that's the pattern that they use on people that they suspect using drugs. Now, Gary was in there with a man who dealt drugs. He was at his house. For whatever reason, Gary says he was setting up surveillance cameras. He saw the cops coming. He told his friend, hey, cops are coming. And they just sat around like, well, here we go again. They knew what was coming because they knew what the Rankin County Goon Squad was going to do. Ain't no sense running. They're going to get you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to use tasers on you. They might even violate you. Funny thing about these dumb cops, these Blue Line gang members, ain't the smartest bunch in the world. They fail to realize is that in tasers, they got like a chip in them, like a memory chip, that tells how many times the gun's been fired, how long it's been fired. In Mississippi today, them boys got the records on those guns, those taser guns, showed that they had fired them guns 14 times in a 90-minute period. There is no excuse to fire a gun, a taser, that many times for any reason. Matter of fact, there's a rule, a regulation. The federal government says, hey, you can only fire a taser so many times, and they are well beyond that one. They went in there with the intention of hurting people. And they didn't think they were going to get caught. The only thing is, they do the same thing to everybody. This ain't a black thing or a white thing, because the majority of the victims were white. And the people that were black, yeah, they threw racial slurs at them, and it made it a little racial. But overall, the whole thing is not about racist cops tasing black people. They tased anybody and did things to anybody as they thought they could get away with. And they built a pattern of doing this nonsense to different people. Well, Joe Schmo over here says, yeah, he took me in the back room, beat me up, kicked me, took a taser to me. And he did it for hours, and then he waterboarded me. And then a woman says, they took me back into the back room, and they hurt me. They violated me. They took a taser to certain parts of me. They didn't care if you were black, if you were white, if you were young, if you were old. I mean, Gary was 70 years old. A taser can give a person a heart attack. In my honest opinion, A taser is the stupidest thing that the government ever gave a police officer. Yes, less lethal force. There's other weapons that you can use for less lethal force. But them dumb old boys, well, they got caught. Thanks to Mississippi Today. Because they did a thorough investigation and got the FBI involved, and the Department of Justice involved, and the Mississippi Department of Justice involved. They got civil rights leaders involved, and Eddie Parker and Michael Jenkins got their attorney involved. And that old boy there, he don't play. Like he said, darkness shall come to the light. Praise the Lord. He made it happen. And I'm glad you guys sued the living crap out of them old boys and got them deputies sent to prison some real time. Not a slap on the wrist and saying, oh, bad boy. Because I see it a lot in my research. The criminal justice system is not a justice system when it comes to cops. Personally, I feel like it violates the 14th Amendment because everybody should be treated the same. You break the law, you should get the same punishment. And I get it, a first-time offender or second-time offender. I understand you get points and all this other stuff. It builds up. But a cop doing the things that they're doing, you don't let a bank robber off with a slap on the wrist when he goes in and robs a bank, do you? No, you send his butt to prison, regardless of the fact that he is a first-time offender. But these old boys, they got over 100 years combined together. Yes, sir. Good job, Mississippi Today.
They put a chair in the kitchen, drove me to the kitchen, put a belt around my neck, and the officer stood on the chair and pulled me up and just choked the mess out of me. I thought I was going to die. They drew a Nazi sign on my head. Then he found a torch.
He shot me in between the legs with this taser. They tased me like 30 times or 40 times.
He said, I'm fit to go back here and kill your partner. I'll be right back to kill you. That's when I heard a gunshot, and I thought they shot him. It beat me bad, man. I'll never forget that, man. I'm so racist, man. They put a gun in my mouth. Dude, I thought that man was going to kill me.
When he put his knees in my chest, his exact words was, I hate you that come in Rankin County that just try to sell drugs. He was like, if I can kill you and get away with it, I'll do.
This is so common what Rankin County does that it's just like, well, we went over to Rankin County, we around, we got our ass handed to us. We know better. That's the mindset that people have, like, don't around in Rankin.
Yeah.
Around in Rankin, this is what's going to happen. So we all just kind of take our lumps, if you will, you know?
5 of his deputies pleaded guilty to federal charges resulting from their torture of Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. The public pressure on Sheriff Bailey and his department was mounting. Brian Bailey, once an employee of Lloyd Goon Jones, says he never heard of the group's nickname.
The Goon Squad, I didn't even realize that they called themselves that until last week. Somebody asked me, I said, what are you talking about? I've never heard that. Nobody's ever reported that to me.